our friends, who are watching us, they are very strongly saying that technology cannot replace humans, and that's the reality. But the transformation that is taking place, we should not be running away from them. On that matter, there is a theory given by another very good philosopher who has studied technology, human relations management very well, and his name is Bruno Latour. जो हमारे लोग सुन रहे हैं उसको आप if you look Google, this name Bruno Latour. We also studied translation theory about him. He has given a theory called actor network theory, and that theory is very important because it talks about relationship between humans and machines. Both are different. Both are having their own activities. Machine is sleeping, until you have something to do. You are not planning yourself, and suddenly you have to do work. What will you do? You start your day, and the first thing that you will do friendship with machine. It can be electricity, switch, fan, motor, machine, or your computer, or a supercomputer, or something that comes into picture. So we humans, talk of human civilization, but we never talk about machine civilization. That is already there. We ignore that, and without that, we will not be able to do our day-to-day work now. So we should not be enigmatic or difference to those machines. Rather, it is better to learn them and smartly use them for our own benefits. So now with this, I would like to call upon Dr. Sanjay Bahl sir for his closing remarks and any opinion, any observations that he has. And then at the end, we will take some questions from our friends who are watching us, and then we'll close. Dr. Sanjay Bahl sir, please, sir.
Ravi, it has been a wonderful time listening to the experts on the translation forum, and you have been instrumental in bringing the stalwarts, one from the Jawaharlal Nehru University, Dr. Khanna, and Dr. Vijendra, who have been very instrumental and doing a lot of work into this scenario. Myself, yes, person from management, and yes, people from languages, and yes, as you said, that today is the World Translators Day, and I am seeing this perspective from the placement point of view and from the point of view of the jobs, and yes, and another avenue and field for the new generation, because even in internships which you conducted with a lot of students, we have seen that it has been a wonderful journey of learning the languages. As you know, there's a lot of resources in the world which is still untapped, because I don't know anything about many of the African countries, and many of the African countries doesn't know about my culture, which is 5,000, the oldest civilization, Indian civilization. And many a time, of course, Ramayana, Mahabharata, and the Gita have been translated into many, languages. But still, epics like Vishnu Puran, epics like Garud Puran, been still, a lot of these things have not even been to the Western world. So there is a lot of, work which has to be done. And yes, the life span of 70, 80 years is very less. I think so. It is my thinking that to translate and to know the things, to know the religion, because even you say 140 crores of Indian population, if you ask people about Quran, about Bible, many of us will not be, very frequently have understood, because that is not in our, language. Similarly, even the Guru Granth Sahib Ji, which has to be, in Punjabi. Of course, they have translated into other languages, many of the people, but still there is a lot of work to be done. And as world is getting into the global village and geography is fast becoming history, and as Virender sir has said, that it is the machine learning and it is the internet is cutting across all the sections of the society. And because of the economy in the world, the countries like China, Japan, Korea, India, Germany, and yes, the oil-rich countries, Middle East countries, have come to the forum where the business is being, woven across these places. And because of this, the language like Chinese, Japanese, Arabic, Russian, and Hindi have come to the forefront of the world, and is creating a lot of ripples into the job market of the translators. Translators, because there is a lot of work which is going on the legal fronts. There's a lot of work which is going on the health and the medicine. There's a lot of work even going on in the engineering field, even in the finance, as well as in the marketing field. So the people who have to become the translator, first of all, must have the love for the language and the deep knowledge of the languages, because it is not that a person will get only the translation from Hindi to English or English to Hindi. He may get a job or already work to translate a job from English to Spanish, maybe from Spanish to French. So he should not think that knowing 2, 3, 4, 5 languages will make him a good translator, because ye tapasya hai. Mean in this he has to keep on learning, because there is no end to it, and one should always go ahead with this. And what another aspect in the world is that if the Indian people have to work as a translator, they have to keep the price. That marketing aspect also have to be looked into the manner, so that lower price can also gain entry into this big job market. And of course, the expertise as well as the time accuracy of completing the job has to be there. And yes, as Sir has said very clearly, it is the the machine which has come into the process of translating. I just share the example with you. Many a time we make press note in English, and then normally the newspapers over here in Punjab, they ask us to give it in Punjabi as well as in Hindi, like Punjab Kesari or Dainik Jagran. So they ask it to give it in Punjabi, and once because I am not very through with that Punjabi, so I normally do it in Hindi, and I tell the people. And the moment you say, I ask some of my staff to convert it into Punjabi and Hindi, this person brings it in, say, 10 minutes, but the language of English doesn't match whatever we want in Hindi or in Punjabi. So we have to redo it as per the language, as per the real meaning. So that is a challenge, And as you have been saying, the personality of the translator, yes, that matters a lot. The ethics, the social theories which you have said, Ravi especially, and the cultural capital which you have asked, stated, and cross-cultural, the culture of the people, along with the sanskars which you have talked about, is all in the translations and what the people have to understand. Because if the matter is not understood, it can lead to riots. It can lead to the miscommunication, and yes, communication gap can also be formed. And we have seen many a time, even in the big political circles, we have seen people have said something, and it have been translated into something else, and then the people have been cutting across that I have not said this, it has been misinterpreted. This is all part and parcels of the game, and that is how we have to be skillful. And still there are many manuscripts which have not been translated, and there is a lot of entrepreneurship projects which can be handled. Even the startups can be brought on these issues, and there's a lot of work to be done. And yes, this is one field which have been neglected by most of our stalwarts, even in the academic arena. And as Sir has said very clearly, that big data and artificial intelligence and cloud, but mind it, sir, man cannot be replaced by machine. Machine will be there, of course, and we have seen how the machine is translating. But as Vrinder sir has said very clearly, that today if we will put that matter, the translation will be something else, and after a month it changes. But we are not for that translation. We are for the exact translation. You say, I'll take the name of two stalwarts, Indian stalwarts. One was the Nobel Prize winner, Rabindranath Tagore ji, who wrote Gitanjali. And you see how classic the Gitanjali was, even in English, even in Bangla, and even in Hindi. That sense of each and every word, that lyric, have been tremendous, and nobody, and that is why, that Nobel Prize for literature have been conferred on him. Then the another legendary lady, or even the singers are the translators, even they don't understand what is the meaning of that word, but how lovely they sing. And I'm talking about Lata Mangeshkar ji, who has not only sang the Hindi songs, but I think almost all scheduled language she has sung marvelously, and there have not been any, change in either the meaning or either the taste, because that is what is required. And translator's job is very challenging, because, and with that challenge, there is one big thing. It is a zero error profession. Error should not be there. The moment the error will be there, it will be misinterpreted, and then the problems and problems and problems will be there. So the right word, as Sir has said very clearly, we have to read, understood. So the right words, the frame of words, we have seen in Hindi also, many words have come into it, like jungle, rifle, circus, even the rail. Clear? If we say rail in the Hindi, it will be loh path gamini. So, it will be difficult for the people to understand. Even the person, I'm putting the things very simpler. Even the speed breaker in Hindi will be Gati Avrodhak. So that understanding of the words will be there, but it will sound something funny because we are not using those. And as sir has said, Dr. Khanna has said that there is no perfect translation. I agree with him. There is no perfect translation. But yes, if we want to have a perfect translation, we have to get into the depth of how a writer has written it. See, Galib, it's a challenge to the whole translators. I mean, you try to translate the Shairi of Galib, clear? And then once the people will speak and will present that Shairi, the same taste of Urdu Shairi should come. That is the challenge. So everybody is a translator when we speak, think in the local language. Because as sir has said, Varinder sir has said, I am a Hindi, I learned Hindi in Hindi, but I learned English in Hindi. Yes, many a time when we are speaking English, because English is not our mother tongue. And once we are speaking in Hindi, the backdrop of what we are thinking is in the local language. And then our mind, because of reading our vocabulary, we get into the present aspect. That is how we are speaking. So everybody is a translator, and everybody who is interacting with the people, who is interacting with the other persons, is a translator. Even we have seen Madam Sarojini Naidu, the Nightingale of India, clear, how she was thinking in Tamil, and then how she was putting it in English. Marvelous. Many of the stories of Tenali Ram from the south, which have been translated into Hindi, people have done their best. But if those epics or those works are read in the local languages, and then the translation is seen, then we find there is a lot of difference. So that is the biggest challenge. Therefore, many books have been translated to different languages because of the particular time. Like most of the books of Mahatma Gandhi, My Experiment with Truth, have been translated into other languages. But Discovery of India by Jawaharlal Nehru, even the letters to the daughter by Jawaharlal Nehru have been translated. But there are many languages in the world which still needs Indian culture to be depicted to the whole world. So that is, a great challenge for all the translators. And there's a lot of money. Yes, as sir has said, there's a lot of money. But the money is only for the quality work. And for having the quality work, the cognitive domain of the translator has to be checked, has to be developed, has to be trained time and again with the machine. And a person has to be better than the machine. As Dr. Khanna has said, that 60 pages are translated in 10 minutes. Sir, I agree. 10 minutes or more you may have translated within 5 minutes. But the real crust, the real beauty of the word, the real sense of the words might be missing. And even in the whole literature, if one word is misunderstood, the whole translation works can lead to zero. So it is a very, very sensitive profession, very, very, dedicated profession, a zero error profession. But yes, salute to all the translator on this day, because there is still lot of treasures to be translated into all the languages of the world. There are near about 640 crore people on this earth. And if we can make our culture known to the people, the culture of non-violence, the culture of honesty, the culture of doing good, so this culture can transfer the world. And yes, this is a challenge for the translators. So thank you, Ravi, for giving so much of time. And it has been a pleasure listening to you all people. And I tried little bit on my own to justify and to know. Yes, because being a student of management, we will always look for that how it can be beneficial, how the money can be brought to the translators, how the new and aspects can be, for the betterment of the society, not only in India, but everybody in the world. So thank you, Ravi. Thank you, Dr. Virender, and thank you, Kanan, for so lovely debate on this day. Thank you. Anything, Ravi, I can do for you? Yeah, please.
Unmute.
Thank you for all your observation, comments, etc. It has been a very wonderful observation from your side, especially about our ethos, culture, which should reach out to 640 crore people on this earth. And India being very rich in various languages, 1600, languages on average. And if, the way the technology is progressing and penetrating, and if there are certain triggers like open sources, which is, another culture in making, which is allowing everybody to collaborate and produce something which everybody can enjoy, collective. On the same line, I have tried to do some experiments and launched online dictionary, collaborative dictionary called Legal Course. You can go and add some value, donate some terms, and for the common benefit. Whenever I get time, I also go and add some terms there. So on same lines, the legalcourse.com I have launched, luckily. I wanted to inform all our friends on this auspicious day that we have also started a Vicharak Manch in order to think and develop critical thinking among masses, at least critical thinking among own self first, and then reach out to people to translate, to rethink all those points which has been lost in history, which was misinterpreted, etc., etc. So these are all learning process that we continue to grow on. And you were talking about translation, error-free translations. We have, in 2018 with our interns, 200 interns, we did certain experiment and documented it, and that resulted in development of a rubric. We call it Modlingua rubric. So we have used human intervention for editing, certain text. We have also used machine technology like Grammarly, that corrects your errors. And we learned that we can reduce, the time of editing by, 50%. So if you are using machine and reducing your time of, editing by 50%, and if you use that 50% gain time for betterment of a style, betterment of, beauty of the language, etc., it can be a revolutionary step, for our system. So that's what our contribution or development. It may not be, considered as a mass level thing, but we have been doing this thing. And yes, I would like to appeal, all our friends who are watching us to keep on doing experiments, on these lines, and do friendship with technology, so that we increase our efficiency, we do betterment in the quality, we do betterment, machine can do functional translation for you. It's for sure. And there is a lot of, functional work, message from one corner to another. Buses are passing, shipment has been sent, those kind of things, click here, go there. Those instructional thing, machine can do good in that. But when we are talking about expression, perhaps that thing, we will need to kind of work.
Ravi, I would like to interrupt over here.
Yes, sir.
Because while we were studying literature, one thing was always there, like poetical license, isn't it?
Right.
Like the language license. So I think even a translator has got his license, how he is going to translate the verse or translate the poem or translate. I agree with you that instructional sentences can be, translated, but the feeling part, and once a writer writes a verse, as I told you, it's a challenge I have given regarding if you can translate the Ghalib verses.
I will give you a response on that, sir.
Okay.
And
Dr. Kanana has also said that he tried with the Kabir verses. Clear? So that a sense, and all languages, even if it is a Bhojpuri or if it is a Maithili, these all language have their own beauty. Clear? I will sum up that in that beauty, even the structure of the words, even the phonetics of the words, and all these things, mean that classic cannot be, replicated by either the cloud computing or even with artificial intelligence or even with the, machine learning. So I'm not very against with this computer, but yes, the real essence, and that is the challenge for the translator. Clear? Because even if the machine has translated, again it has to be redone by the people. So if translator can do that work, because many a time I translate from English to Hindi, but it becomes difficult for my staff to convert from English to Punjabi. They take more time. I take less time to draft from Hindi to English or English to Hindi. So I'm not boosting upon that, but yes, it is a challenge.
Right, sir. In fact, on that part only, I was coming to you. जिसको हम बोलते हैं, आत्मा जिसकी हम बात कर रहे हैं, फीलिंग की बात कर रहे हैं. And it's not only machine, there is a history, there is a culture, there is a relationship of the writer with the text or the concept or the imagination. You were talking about school time. We had a very good teacher of history. His name was Jed Saeed. He was the person who could stand in the class, and everybody was used to keep silent because of his aura, persona which he had, and we used to be very serious in his class, and that's why our general knowledge become very good. In later periods, many of the people cracked, civil services because of him. And he, at this stage, he retired in 2000, year 2000, but today is 2020. After 20 years, on foundation day of our school, which is 16 September, this is not far away, he has sent a message to our school friends, alumni, and that message I want to share with you, and that will give you what he is, in personality, and which is very rare, Let's see. This is this is his story. Currently, what he is, he is BA, BL, MA, national laboratory teacher, worked at Sainik School Telia from 1965 to year 2000. And currently he has given a picture with, he's enjoying his time in front of Niagara Falls because his kids are there. But he writes a message, in 1953. This is his picture, in the left side, at age of 16. And in 2020, this is his picture at the right side. And in the middle, he writes a message. And the message is, मैं हिंदी में पढ़ता हूँ, वो हिंदी में लिखा हुआ है, इकबाले दहर से या गर्दिशे तकदीर से, इकबाले दहर से या गर्दिशे तकदीर से, अब नहीं मिलती मेरी सूरत मेरी तस्वीर से. Can you imagine the depth it has? I believe machine will never be able to translate, decipher the code which is there, So that kind of thing, we always, as a translator, we have to be sensitive enough to all these feelings. And the future is for the feelings only, because as I said, functional thing will be done by machine, and the rest quality thing has to be done by human minds. With this, sir, before we close, I would like to come back to our friends who are watching us, and if there are any questions for the panel, and it has been very enriching panel. So any questions, my friend, please welcome. Ravi Bhushan ji is saying, I think all genres of translation have been brought in discussion. Can we think of having a specific discussion on a specific genres of translation? Yes, certainly, Ravi Bhushan ji, perhaps next time. Because today is a translation day and there are a variety of people involved here. So we have been able to talk variety of things. It was as we had planned it for 1.5 hours, but now it is a spillover to 2 hours plus. And still I see lots of people are watching us and we are doing healthy discussions. So emotionally, I also feel little charged because of the response that you have all friends given. I believe if you have any specific questions to any of the panelists, please welcome. Kaniska is saying, what are the challenges if we want to venture into entrepreneurship in the field of translation, especially the Indian languages? Challenges are quality of translators, the quality conscious translators. That's that. As I have been promoting entrepreneurship, among translators, that's my forte. Kanisk, कौशिक जी, आपके इस क्वेश्चन का आंसर मैं प्राइवेटली भी दे दूंगा बहुत स्पेसिफिकली. अगर आप चाहें तो वीडियो भी देख सकते हैं हमारे YouTube चैनल पे, मॉडलिंगवा के चैनल पे. ओपनिंग चैनल वीडियो भी वही एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप पे है, entrepreneurship among translators, and you will find variety of talks that I have done at various
I think he should get involved with nearly 20 Indian languages and try to see the most of the religious epics to translate.
Right. There was one question also about spiritualism.
Great.
How to handle spiritual books and all, that is the best thing, that comes into picture. And so there are certain niche market, for businesses.
Yes.
Which is spiritualism. Another is medical tourism. Third one is,
Ravi, just
yes.
excuse me, I will not name, but the Bhagavad Gita, from the Gorakh press costs 30 rupees, and from another, I will not name, the name starts from I and finish with N. So that organization sell the English translation of the Bhagavad Gita, same everything for more than 350 rupees or 400 rupees. So it is the entrepreneurship only from the organizations. There are many, places in India with the godmans, and they are, marketing, and I will say they have become the entrepreneurs for the translation in the local languages as well. And that's a good money they are making, and most of their scholars who are in those ashrams, they are also working on those scripts. And yes, as the answer is that our civilization, because you see the American civilization or Canada or Australia or New Zealand, they're just 200 years old. See the wealth we have got on the spiritualism, on the languages, on the human behaviors. No other country, no other society has that much of rich sources to be translated and to be told to the world, yes, we stand here. So that is the way I think the translators should get involved. And yes, may not, if people don't want to come 100% into it, at least part-time, at least they can devote 1 or 2 hours of their daily 24 hours and at least start doing it. And one day, like a person who after 30 years could bring the water to his village, yes, within a year or so, they can also translate a good amount of books into the languages where people can read those and get benefited.